Welcome to the Age of Agility. This is a show where we talk to people who are facing unique challenges with an agility mindset. We'll learn from industry leaders, business and IT professionals, and even check in on our colleagues from time to time. Stay tuned as we explore the age of agility. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Age of Agility. So glad you're here to join us today. I'm really excited because we're here talking to John Karras, who is a data product manager at Quickbase. And so, John, tell our viewers a little bit about, and listeners, I forget we're on audio now, little bit about, I know, big deal, a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hey, everybody. As Shannon mentioned, my name is John Karras. I'm a data product manager here at Quickbase. And my real mission is to figure out how we can use the data that our customers have and we've collected to turn it into features that solve problems for our customers, whether it's product features or offerings to customers. So I'm really excited about being on the podcast today. So thanks for having me and looking forward to chatting.
Awesome. So this is our first question that we always ask. Can you tell us a little bit about what does agility mean to you?
Agility to me is being able to change course quickly. So this is like really important in terms of building software, running a business, managing your family. It's got so many different types of applications, and I think we are definitely in a time where agility is becoming increasingly important. So really being able to change course quickly and oftentimes off of new information that you gather is what comes to my mind when I think of agility.
So we've been talking a little bit about this term, not a little bit, a lot of it, about this term operational agility. So what does it mean to be operationally agile? Can you tell us a little bit about what that means to you and maybe even what it looks like for an organization to live by operational agility?
Yeah. To be operationally agile, companies and businesses really need to be able to adapt and change those business processes like very quickly. Mm-hmm. This means having the people that are willing to change, the processes and technology that you recognize you need to change, and the urgency and capability to implement it. So if you can kind of achieve those three things with the people, the process, and the technology all aligned and being able to change quickly, you're going to see some really great outcomes for your company, even in times of, overall macro areas that are really going poorly. So I think there's really good opportunities for companies to tap into the people, process, and tech and achieve operational agility in that manner.
So in your role, the reason why you're here, not that I don't just love talking to you, but the reason why you're here is to talk to us about data. So I know that, well, it's number one, a passion of yours, but also that if we didn't already hear that data is every and all things, then this year just made it really clear to us how important that is. So can you talk a little bit about sort of what we're hearing from a data perspective when it comes to technology, trends you're seeing, that kind of stuff?
We are definitely in the age of data, whether it's good data, bad data, but the importance of data and using it to solve problems and achieve your kind of goals is becoming increasingly important. I think there's been a couple of different ways that data has had a huge impact in this year in 2020. So far, as we kicked off the year, we've had COVID, this global pandemic, accelerated the need to understand what's going on. You've had researchers trying to gather data. You've had pharmaceutical companies trying to match up with researchers and join knowledge sets and kind of combine all this information all together. So you've had the need of multiple people, multiple organizations needing to combine data to help solve a huge global problem. That's one thing, the COVID area of where data has been majorly important. The other area too that I think more recently is the presidential election here in the US. Right, we've had tons of different data thrown out between projections of who's going to win each state, who actually won, and the focus on data to be able to make informed projections, give people an understanding of what's going on, has had a a major, major influence this year, I think.
I would love to hear your perspective on how data and agility are related, right? So I think that I can make some guesses, but you're clearly the expert. You can't truly be agile unless you have the right data to be able to make the right decision at the right time.
Right.
So can you tell us a little bit about what you've seen either from your role or what you think those two things have in common?
One thing that we probably take for granted, being as me and you work for Quickbase, is we are able to capture data very quickly when we need to start getting data. Most organizations, if you don't have a tool or something like that, being able to quickly capture new data, that's a miss. You're not going to have that vital data at your fingertips to be able to take action on it. Being able to capture new data, analyze existing data, connect different data sources, being able to do those kind of three things with data is absolutely foundational in terms of being able to make your company more agile. That's really what's going to happen in companies that achieve operational agility is they're able to take that data they have, connect it and apply it and capture new information, and then be able to pivot their company strategy off of it. It sounds complex. It probably is complex, but honestly, if you have the right team and the right mindset and the right tools to do it, it's something that can definitely be done.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to an episode from last season where Eric talked about, especially this year, seeing the industries that weren't necessarily as digital forward, right? You see those like the large scale manufacturers or large big box retailers, and you watched them have to pivot at software speed, right? So as you just said, like Quickbase, we kind of just flipped, we worked at home, we missed each other, but like it wasn't really, the impact was not it didn't affect our bottom line nearly as much as some of those folks. So can you talk a little bit about sort of what you're seeing in either our platform data, about maybe new features that we're talking about to try and help those folks get to this new hyperspeed that I don't think anyone anticipated they'd have to get to as quickly as they've had to.
It definitely exacerbated the need for companies to accelerate their digital footprint, right? Mm-hmm. If you had paper processes that relied on someone, physically handing you information, that process pretty quickly had to get transformed to be able to be digital based. Luckily, many companies already had that, but this recent pandemic, everybody having to work from home has really caused that to accelerate. In terms of things that we look for on our platform, we look at activity, obviously number of, how many clicks essentially are happening on our platform. Have we seen that go up or down? We've seen pretty big rises and falls as people have been trying to navigate to work from home. And also, we can look at things like, hey, how many apps are being created at this customer? We've seen some customers dramatically increase their number of applications that they have, right? Maybe they have one app that solves work from home needs and requests. Maybe they have one app that solves contact tracing. So you can kind of build applications at the speed at which you need to solve those problems. And that's really a key capability of being able to make your organization agile.
Yeah. So going into 2021, I'm not going to say post-COVID because we're not there yet. But
I would love to be post-COVID, but
I know we all would. I know.
It's going to be anytime soon.
I know. Yeah, post-initial COVID disruption. That's the way that I've kind of been talking about it lately. What are you seeing as trends when it comes to the need? Like we've learned a lot this year, right? About the needs for data, the needs to be operationally agile, like we were talking about. What are you seeing as trends in technology going into this next year?
The one thing that I've seen this year that I think needs to really happen as we approach the future is companies really tackling and understanding what their employee needs are and making sure they're met. This can oftentimes take the form of employees feeling satisfied or feeling empowered to achieve their goals and things like that. One thing that I've really loved about Quickbase is I feel like we've always had the tools and processes and focus on empowering the people to accomplish their work, regardless of if it was at home, at work, remote, somewhere else. I think being able to make sure employees feel empowered and capable to achieve their jobs is going to be a major focus. There's going to be totally different ways that company A solves it versus company B, but focusing on those employees is something that I really think is going to be important going forward.
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of conversation at the beginning of this saying the companies that take care of their people are going to be the ones that make it through this. And I think that that is, of course, some folks, if you're a Zoom, you're going to make it through. But if you're, or Slack or one of those, but that is a very different sort of context. But I think that's a really great point that you're making about equipping your folks and the people at your company, your greatest asset, with the right tools and process to be able to do their work in the best and most efficient way. Because I think we're seeing that what work looks a little different now than I think we anticipated.
Yeah. Work is totally different. I mean, I'm now in the mindset where I think of work as how it is these days. Like I just go, one Zoom to the next. I Slack every day to talk to people. Whereas I think even less than a year ago, right? I was getting up, going to see somebody and ask them a question. I was booking a conference room meeting to have a meeting. I would sometimes forget to put a Zoom meeting and the remote folks would get mad. Now it's like, I don't know if I'll ever remember to book an actual physical room. I think it's always going to be Zoom rooms that I do now. So
yeah, it's crazy, very crazy.
I was just going to say, I think it's much different. I think it's going to stay pretty different. And I know the theme in our last season of the podcast was the new normal, right? And I think that's like very much been achieved. I already feel like I'm in a new normal state.
The interesting thing about being a software company that sells to, I guess, some other software companies, but mostly not, right, is that our customers are dealing with very, very different, they're solving very different problems than we are.
Right.
And so I'd love to hear your perspective on any trends that you think you're going to see for folks that are maybe not fully work from home, that are trying to augment really complex operational issues, whether it's supply chains or manufacturing operations, anything like that. The work that they've done this year, what's going to change going into 2021?
This is probably more of a 2021 and beyond trend that I think is going to get accelerated is, there are definitely processes that are very physical or manual, especially in the manufacturing and supply areas, that you probably have to physically move a crane to achieve it, physically make a part. And I think we'll probably see over the next probably 5 to 10 years, maybe starting sooner, is how can you digitize those physical processes? How can you actually make that machine without having a human click a lever to make it? Yes, it could turn into assembly lines, but are there ways that you can maybe leverage some of the new technology, virtual reality, augmented reality, to achieve and maybe work through that bot on the physical thing while you're at your home? So I think some of these, what maybe may have seemed like far out trends, are going to start to become more real over the next probably 1 to 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and I think that I know that there's a lot of like scare around that topic, typically about losing jobs and skills, but also seeing that I think skills may just change. Our platform is not to just talk about us, not just about us, but that we're seeing that not just software developers can use Quickbase, right? So you're seeing folks that can transition some of the skills that they were probably doing manually into something that they're doing digitally, right? Their job just may look a little different. Obviously, we're not complete experts, but I think that we're seeing trends going in that direction.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, going back to the employee empowerment is, if you recognize that your company is going to be shifting and making these transformations, how do you empower those employees to drive and go along with that shift and benefit from that shift, right? I agree. I hear so many companies and friends and colleagues, talk about, hey, I don't know what AI means for us or automation means for us, but humans will always have a major place in the a major spot in the workplace. And really the thing that we'll never have computers or AI be able to achieve is that level of judgment and empathy that humans have. I personally don't think we'll ever get to a state where you can match a human on that side. And judgment is really important in almost any job. So being able to focus on the areas where you're always going to be valuable, you're always going to want to be able to provide input, and making sure that you have a company that supports you is where I think we're going to see the most successful companies come out on the other side of this, and whenever the COVID era ends.
That brings to mind the idea around what you do, like data analysis, right? Like you're using technology to pull all of that data, but it's you using your mind to discern what's important. And exactly. I think that is, as we're seeing the volume of data just continue to grow, it seems like that is going to become even more and more important, that we have more folks that can think about how do you tell the story from that data, and not just take it all as raw numbers.
Oh, very much so. And I think really it's going to come down to, hey, are you able to use the tools to help do those things that maybe you had to manually do? Maybe you had to manually look through a million rows in a spreadsheet and figure out what the month over month change was. Now you're going to have a tool that helps do that for you. Are you able to kind of connect the dots and make sure that you can use tool A, get that insight out and be able to talk about it? Those are the areas where everybody's going to be able to continue to make great impact and hopefully easier than you were before.
Well, so the final question, John, how are you? So how are you doing? I know that you've had some life changes since the last time I saw you in person. I know that life is obviously, I know that you're settling into this new normal, but how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'd say some days I'm doing really well. Some days I'm not doing so well. I feel like I'm at a very fortunate spot in my life, though, personally, with a great girlfriend. I just moved into a new home. Anybody that's watching the video version, this clock that I put up here, I literally did it 5 seconds before the show because I'm still unpacking. And yeah, things are going well. I've been lucky to have my family stay healthy through all this. But it's been a decent ride for me, and I'm curious and hopeful for the other side of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad to hear it. And I know that we're going into sort of probably the weirdest holiday season that we've experienced. So yeah, any thoughts on how you're going to bring your practice of agility into figuring out what you're doing this at the end of this year?
Yeah, I love Christmas. I love Thanksgiving and kind of those holidays. I have a Greek family. We always cook a ton of food. I've tried to cook at least one dish, and we've had at my grandma's house every year we do Thanksgiving, and there's probably like 15 or 20 of us that have always gone, and we always make these like super dense and high calorie, all butter, all cheese, all Greek noodles. And this will be the first time in like my 30 years that I'm not going to have them. So I'll be making them at home. I'll have to take all those calories and butter to myself. It'll make us really realize how much we value our family, I think. On the other side of this, I've been super bummed about not having and being able to go see my family. But I'm hoping that maybe early next year we can start having some more, larger family events with family members of all ages.
That sounds delicious. I'm jealous. And my family is not Greek, but I love Greek food. So I'm very jealous. But yeah, thanks, John, so much for talking to us today. Make sure to follow John he sometimes posts on LinkedIn. You should follow him. And then also follow the podcast everywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts, as well as quickbase.com/podcast. And we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much. See ya.
Did you hear the dog? I'm really afraid to know what he's eating. That is what I'm thinking about right now, but I'm just going to put that out of my mind because nothing I can do about it.